Hi guys, welcome to Will's jury exit interview. Will is 11th and was the first juror, the mid vote off of Survivor Kilimanjaro. So, Will, my first question for you is: were you expecting to be voted out tonight?
I mean, I'm always kind of expecting it, and it would not appear so because I was pretty like cocky whenever I had to do confessionals or viewer lounge things. But it was kind of in the back of my head that I knew that people were quiet, and I was just like, if I go home tonight, I go home, and it happened, and I'm not mad about it. But I mean, so to answer your question, no, but like it's always kind of in the back of my head that like it's a possibility. And it was.
Okay, so the vote was very split, so it was a 5-4-1-1. Do you have any suspicions about who voted for Brandon? Did you expect a vote to go on Brandon?
No, and it really pissed me off, honestly, because I could have still been here if it wasn't for the swing vote for Brandon. If I had to suspect anybody, it was probably Derek, but again, that's just me throwing it out there. Either Derek or Tim. Because they were the two that were kind of on the fence for me. I definitely, at least I'm 99% sure that Chris and Bob ended up voting against me, as well as Courtney, obviously, and Brandon. So, I mean, at least just my guess, but I guess I'll find out soon enough. I would like to think that my three guys stayed behind me and had my back, but I guess you never know.
Okay, so kind of coming on from that, the other one vote was Tomas's self vote. Were you relying on his vote, or was it good for you that he self voted? Like, did that change anything with Tribal that he didn't vote?
Um, it See, the thing is that I had expected Courtney to go home regardless of his vote. So knowing that he self-voted and having expected him to vote for whoever their target was, whether it was me, whether it was Tommy, whether it was Wes, I, in retrospect now, if he hadn't self-voted, it probably just would have been like a 6-4. So I probably I should have talked to him because he's the one person I never really talked to because he's never online. And I think if I had reached out knowing now that he had self-voted, that he maybe he would have like, I don't know, maybe he would have thrown me a pity vote. I don't know. But it was definitely a shocker for me to see the vote for Tomas, and then also to see the Brandon vote. I still have no clue what the hell that was. And honestly, it pisses me off because I would have rather had it been like a unanimous vote for me instead of someone trying to throw like a pity vote. Like my guess is whoever threw the Brandon vote wants me to vote them when it comes to jury voting. And when I find out who that person is, it's not going to be a knock in their favor. I'd rather someone be straight up and be like, "I'm going to vote you out." And I felt it was very wishy-washy for there to be just a random vote out there when there didn't need to be. I was voted out. Like, I don't know. It's just
Okay, so obviously we just merged, but before the merge, so the last kind of two rounds, what happened when you were kidnapped? When Malenzi won the challenge, massive blowout, and then you got kidnapped, and then there was an idol played at that tribal. Tal went home. What happened there?
oh my god. I was just there's part of me that's like I was a major idiot for giving Wes the idol, but I still do not regret it because and here's why. So let me recap. In my mind, all I could think was they heavily are like suspecting Wes for this idol, right? So these people trust me, right? So if I am caught being like a major red-handed liar at that point, at least I don't think anyone had even like brought up my name as someone who could possibly have the idol because I'm playing fucking stupid here. I'm like acting like this dumbass that doesn't know everything that's been going on. Whereas, like, I literally was the one who found the idol, like, literally a few days into it. So I had to play down this whole time and it was wearing on me. So I was like, why not use this as an opportunity to get someone back on your side, get a number for when it comes to merge? Because I had a feeling merge was coming in like the next few rounds because we were already a few eliminations in. So I was like, get someone back on your side, give the idol to the person who was suspected to have it. So, and Wes was in on that. He was like, "Oh my god, that'd be great. I literally will like just tell everybody that I found it." And I was like, "Perfect." So I have this weight off of me. It's like I never even had it, and I not only save him, but like it's like perfect. I get rid of the idol. It's all good and dandy. So I give him the idol and stirred up shit, got him like to play it so that way it all worked out. Because otherwise he was going home. So I was like, this is all perfect. And then we get back and obviously things played out the way they did. I still think though, had I not given him the idol, if I had not like because Wes would have gone home. If I didn't have Wes in that whole lineup, I still was going to be at the bottom of the totem pole and probably still would have gotten for. I mean, I don't regret that play, and I really hope he if I had to pick someone that I want to win, it would be Wes right now, just for that very reason of like that redemption arc, and he is just such a fierce competitor. So I don't regret it, but it was probably the stupidest thing I could have done.
So moving on from that, this is actually a question from Sophia, or known as Eves, from season 1. She asked,
Okay.
"What was going to the vote after that? What was going through your mind when the vote flipped onto Shrub? What happened there?"
Okay, so I mean, as you know, but not everybody else knows, I was the one who had flipped it onto Shrub, and my thought process for that was that throughout the game, I really like Shrub a lot as a personal like on a personal level, but I knew the whole entire time, and I got information from other people that he was the most social within the game and was never really going to be like I was never going to have an opportunity to get him out, but I also knew that he wasn't just loyal to me, he was loyal to like everybody. So it was like, do I take a gamble on this guy and just assume that he's going to like, be loyal to me and honor this like final two agreement? Because I also had found out that he had made like agreements with everybody. So it was like a matter of I just have to decide whether I trust this kid or whether I take the opportunity to take out the biggest threat in the game, in my eyes, at this moment. Well, we have a majority and we can do it because it was four of us OG Tri members against the two from Shira, Bob and Chris. So I was like, we have majority, we can just knock them out. And I ended up turning shit around and I did it. And I'm actually still very proud of my vote. I know when he left, he was a little salty and was like, that was the stupidest move you could have made. And I respect him saying that. And of course, ironically, I'm the next one out. But I still think that was a really good move. And I think everybody who's left in the game owes me a round of applause for that because now they don't have to deal with the biggest social threat and like because no one wants to go against like let's say we did make final two and people are voting between me and him, they're gonna go for the one who was nice, the one who was like congenial throughout the whole thing. He didn't have beef with a single person. So I had to take advantage of him spilling any shit that I could and use that against him, unfortunately, and that's what I did.
Do you think, because there were a few references throughout Tribal Council to the original tribe lines, and Mwenzi came into the merge, or original Mwenzi came into the merge with a minority, do you think Or do you stand by the shrub vote was a good idea, or do you think it would have changed things had those tribal lines been different, had Bob or Chris gone home, that tribal council?
See, I still stand by it. And theoretically, I mean, like, just counting by the numbers, like, we obviously, like, I only got, sorry, only 4 people voted for Courtney, meaning that not every single OG Moenzi tribe member voted. So theoretically, knowing that Tomas, and we knew it was a possibility that he would self vote, I we still could have came out with the majority, and I still could be there, this tribal, even being down an OG tribe member. So I still don't think it was a dumb move getting rid of him. And I don't think it would have done us any good at that point to get rid of Chris or Bob, because honestly, they're kind of just riding everybody's coattails. And um I I think it would have screwed us going into the merge, knowing that Shrub is way closer to Courtney and Brandon than I am. And we all knew that it was going to be like that a blindside was inevitable at some point. And I felt way stronger with Wes, Tommy, and Milo than I did with Shrub. And they all felt mutual, at least in my understanding. So it was like, why are we taking this guy over just so he can like flip on us? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And I could be like, he might after this whole thing be like, well, you were totally wrong. I was your number one. I had your back. But when you're like telling me things like, oh, I'm good with this person, I'm good with this, I have an alliance, I have this person willing to make a deal with me, like you just don't go around saying that shit and then expect me to be like, okay, but we're still number one, right? Like, no, I see you're being like social, and kudos for you. And on a personal level, love that guy. But he kind of set himself up. At least that's what I think.
Okay, so kind of coming on from that, what is your biggest regret from the game and also your proudest moment?
Okay, so biggest regret would be, so before this org, I had played in one other org, and that was Colt's org, and I played pretty aggressively. I tend to play very emotionally and on the cusp of just what I'm feeling. And my goal for this game was to try to play a lot calmer of a game and try to go into it with a level-minded approach. And obviously, right from I went in gates ablazing. So I totally think if I could change one thing about my game, it would be that not playing, like, less hard, because I still needed to have played a hard game to have gotten as far as I did, but I I didn't need to do with all the excessive manipulation that I did. I just needed to do the bare minimum and, not create a villain out of myself in unnecessary instances. Like, I kind of look back and I'm like, I literally tried to dominate every single vote, and I don't know how I thought that I would be able to get away with that until the very end and have not a single person catch on. Um, but in terms of proudest moment, I I'm happy I did not quit. I am happy that as a person with a disability, I was able to kind of overcome a lot of the fears I had going into this season, and feeling like I was at a disadvantage right from the very beginning, lack of experience, feeling like I was at a lower level of processing speed than everybody else, having to fight through that and interpreting communication way differently than everybody. I had to find a way to use my autism as like a tool and a means for me to be successful at the game. So I take that as a huge accomplishment. I also think um, the votes that I was able to dominate, I think that was huge for me. Um, I really, had I survived this vote, I think I set myself up and planted the seeds for me to go all the way. I really, really do. Because I had good relationship. I didn't have beef with anybody really, with exception of that incident with Rita, which I do regret. But overall, I played really hard. I found the idol, and no one knew I had the idol. at least, I mean, maybe I'll find out everybody knew all along, but I did a lot in my little time there. So I'm really proud of all that.
You definitely had an impact on the season, so that's amazing. So my next question for you is, who do you think will win? So who do you think, looking at the game, has the best chance? And then also, who are you rooting for? I know you mentioned that a little bit earlier, but
Okay, so I'll start with rooting. I'm rooting for Wes because I think it would just be the perfect underdog story, underdog redemption, and also I don't want on a personal note, I don't want me throwing him the idol and saving him and throwing him a bone there. I don't want that to be all for nothing. I really want him to I had a huge connection with him right from the start. We connected personally, and I know we'll be friends after this. I just want him to go all the way. But realistically, I think Chris probably has the best shot at winning, I have to say, because he is, I wouldn't say he's the least visible, but they're gonna, like, there's two sides right now. They're gonna target the edges of the sides first. Right now, Chris and Bob both are kind of in the middle of like two big groups right now, and they're not going to get picked off until later in the game. And I think Chris has what it takes to manipulate. He convinced me that I was completely safe, and I guarantee you that he was one of the votes against me. So, from a strategic level, I really respect that, and I think he is going to win. And I would also say I'm kind of rooting for him. I mean, I know it's kind of weird to be like, he's the one who screwed me over. I should have got him out when I could have, because that vote for Shrub could have easily been a vote for Chris. But I don't really regret that. I wish him the best of luck. But rooting for Wes, I think Chris is going to win.
okay. So Ben from season 5, Cayman Islands, just submit a question. So he wanted me to ask about your viewing lounge confessionals because they were iconic. What went into the process of coming up with the iconic BLs?
I didn't know I was going to be like universally hated or like whatever, but I was just like, okay, I am feeling some type of way, so I'm just going to shit talk every single person and at least be iconic. Like I um and it wasn't like out of trying to be like this funny like fan favorite person, because I know I'm not. I know I was just like, I'm just gonna say how I feel. And it was kind of my way of venting, right? Because for the most part, although I definitely had like allies here and there, I didn't really have anybody I felt like comfortable 100% like venting and being like, oh my gosh, this is so fucking annoying. And I did that in confessionals, but the viewers lounge was my way of being like, oh my god, I can just spit out all of these references, pretend that like I'm on the show, and like let people in on the fact that these people are all like fucking bitches and whatever I was going on in my mind. So it was kind of like my way of venting, I guess. So I'm glad that it was received well.
Okay, so my final question for you, unless is there anything else you want to talk about before we finish up?
No, I'm good for the final question.
Okay, so the final question is word association. So I'm just going to go through everyone left in the game and just say like a word or short
Ooh.
phrase that you immediately comes to mind when you hear the name. So
Okay, all right, I'm down.
Bob,
Floater.
Brandon,
Alpha.
Chris,
Uh, Winner.
Courtney,
Shady.
Derek,
Manipulative.
Milo,
Best friend.
oh, Tim,
Nice.
Tomas.
Irrelevant.
Oh no, Tommy,
Oh, that's another nice. Nice guy.
Wes.
Hopefully winner. That's another one that came to mind.
Okay, that's everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, Will. I will get this
Yeah,
uploaded for everyone to see. Thank you so much. Thank
perfect.
you so much for playing this org, and you made it to jury, so congratulations. And now I guess
Yeah.
get ready for the final tribal council in a couple of weeks.
Woo. It's gonna be juicy. I'm excited. Thank you again for having me.